It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. Continuing coverage of the 2024 presidential debate. No, not that one. The newest one. Right here on Red Eye Radio. Gary, I yield my time to you.
Well, that's okay. That's okay, because I'm ready to go. First off, before we even get into the debate stuff, sometimes Republicans are the densest people and have the thickest brains ever. And I'm talking about those in the media, too.
Yeah.
I can't believe what's going on in ABC. Can you believe what's going on? It's 3-1, and the moderators, we can't believe this. I mean, they're not doing their job.
What were you expecting?
What the hell were you expecting? It's ABC. As we said yesterday, it was the Newsbusters. Their media watchers, part of it, 100% of the coverage from ABC has been positive for Harris, 93% negative for Trump.
Right.
We have said over and over again, get it through your thick skull, Republicans. And we're not talking about Republican, the voter out there. We're talking about the Republicans and conservatives in the media that still don't seem to understand the political enemy that they're facing. Yeah. And that's why we said, but neither does the Trump campaign, which is why we said early on, unless you get, I know Harris has come out and says she wanted another debate. This should have been done beforehand. Trump should have said, as we stated, when she came out and said, one debate, what did we say? Trump should say, nope, because that one on ABC would be as biased as you could possibly imagine, and it was, as we could see from the moderators. But that's on Trump and his campaign. He should not have said, I'm going to do one there, and that's it. Remember, he was like hemming and hawing. Well, they want to do it. You should have come out day one and said, nope. We had 2 debates lined up with Biden. We have 2 debates lined up with her. If she wants the ABC, we'll do it. Then I want one on Fox. End of story. If you don't do it, we're not going to debate.
Right.
Because this is going to be fair. And the American public would have looked at that and said, that's a fair thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that, and that's the campaign not taking seriously, as we have stated, the political enemies that they face in the media, the radical liberal activist in the media, they don't care about being journalists. I mean, I forgot who was, I've gone through so many things here in the last couple of hours since the debate. Oh, ABC should be ashamed of themselves. They're not ashamed of themselves.
No, actually, they're proud.
Right. ABC should do their job.
They think, look, we're going to help her win.
Yes. And it's like, it's the same thing on race. When they brought up in the debate about the Kamala Harris, whatever, and Trump went down that rabbit hole again, said, look, I don't care what she is, but she said, don't say but she said. Look, I don't care what she is. I don't care. I care about her policies. I just looked at that and went, and then when she brought up Charlottesville, that's why we have stated. Now, he said, look, that's all been debunked. But by the way, when you say something's debunked, don't use all conservative outlets to say it. Be prepared to have, because you had mainstream fact checkers that said, no, this didn't happen.
I would have said it's been debunked, and
right.
You can, and I believe that the American people can, in fact, do their own fact checking here. So Google my entire quote for that day, and see what I actually said. Yeah. If you want to do your homework, don't count on people like the 2 people that are sitting in front of me here at ABC or even over at Fox News. Do your own homework and see what I said.
Yep. But that was that's one of the reasons that we have stated that the Republican Party should have been attacking from a long time ago, decades ago, the racism of the Democratic Party, because the Democrats still believe they can use that as a sledgehammer over Republicans, and they are bluntly racist with identity politics, the anti-Semitism that they've now got into. And it's like, sometime, and I'm talking about the party. The party can be the densest people on the planet.
They have been for a long, long time.
I know. It's just and the media
seems like that's where you and I started out together.
and a lot of the conservative media covering it too. Yeah. I can't believe these ABC. Yeah. Where the hell have you been the last 30 years?
Why is that even a headline? Why is it even mentioned? Why is it even a headline?
Jeez.
You know what it is, and here's the thing too, because when you do that, you look like you're just showing up to the show, that you're just now showing up.
Yeah.
And the American people, I believe, are smart enough to see it for themselves. They know what's going on with the media. Right. Even liberals know what's going on with the media.
Yeah, we all know. And so this is something, again, those are just the two things I just shake my head going, because we talk about, not being in the bubble of today or being in your own world. And that was just one of them where you're just like, you got to get out of you actually have to pay attention to what's going on and understand it and be fighting it as we've been fighting it all along. But the debate, all right, let's get to the debate. We have never, in covering the debates, ever come out and said, unless the Biden debate, because it was such a debacle. When you look at what we've always looked at debates at is, what impressions were made. What were the impressions out there?
We don't do win or loser.
Right. We've never done that.
Because we win all the debates.
Well, yeah, we do. We win all the
everybody
debates.
Else, that means by default, everybody else is a loser. It's funny because it's true.
Now, see, that's the kind of lying confidence that Kamala had last night.
Except I wasn't lying. I had confidence in the truth.
But when it comes down to it, look, you've got partisans that are saying, Trump won, she won, Trump won. What matters is the independent out there, and what matters is not whether you even believe, because I saw a couple of independents saying, well, I think she won on style, but she didn't tell me what she's about, and things were much better under Trump, and Trump made some really, really good points. Now, Trump had some good points yesterday. He had some highlights. The stuff that is just maddening is, going down the stupid rabbit holes. And you're just like, does he ever take anything seriously? Because you have to ask that question, with everything that he's gone through, all the lawfare that he has gone through. Does he ever look and really think to himself, these people, I got to blow these people away? For him to go down the rabbit hole of the cats was just ridiculous. You don't need to do that.
This is where, look, again, your surrogates, right or wrong, especially on issues like that. Your surrogates, that's going to be hashed out on social media. And whatever the impressions are, leave it.
Right. Well, that's not the point. The point is thousands, 20,000 Haitians in a small town. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. It goes back to
the actual issue.
Point to the actual. Nobody gives a damn. And I was thinking, I go, well, it's really not a. I was like, I wasn't happy he's going down that rabbit hole, which is just, it's the same thing. It's the same thing where Trump would, for example, talk about somebody in Hollywood. We're like, who the hell cares?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Or something that just doesn't matter at all. The cat thing doesn't matter at all. It's making maybe it does because they were looking to get liberal women. What?
Well, here's the thing.
Kamala Harris is going to destroy the country, but her policies have killed some cats.
But here's the thing too. You need to also introduce the facts. Mountain lions are actually the best eating, but only if you kill them with your bare hands. Ready? Go.
But no, he had great points, and what she did was she lied with confidence. But what you have to look at is not what I think about it or what you think about it, because I don't think the things that frustrate us about Trump, and I think it was in National Review where they said, look, there's only one There's only one Trump. You're not going to get a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect a new Trump. You're going to get this. You're always going to get this Trump. But you're not electing a debater. You're electing somebody for policy. And let's listen to some independents. This is on CNN, okay?
All right.
This is one after the debate. Here we go.
What did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
Now, the one question I had after hearing that is, you were undecided before this debate?
You don't sound undecided at all. In fact, you sound like you're filling in over at Fox News.
I was like, you were undecided.
Seriously.
Now let's go to...
was that Martha McCallum?
Megyn Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Now let's go to, this is, those are Pennsylvania voters. This is CBS now with a couple of Pennsylvania independents in the focus group they were talking to. Here we go.
He spoke facts. She just basically repeated everything that Biden has said in the past.
What were your thoughts? She made, Donald Trump made a strong closing statement by saying, why didn't they do all the things that she's proposing during the 3.5 years that they've been in office? And Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024. But she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist, moderate stance is just a facade.
There you go.
Okay. A couple of things here. He brings up Trump's closing statement. In order to see Trump's closing statement, you either have to be on social media right now or you have to have watched the entire debate. And who is it that watches the entire debate? Now, wonks like us and our audience. But outside of that, in terms of voters that are looking for something out of a debate, it would be something, in this case, of what are you going to do? I'm looking for, you need to tell me what you're going to do. And that by the way, the first respondent there, the alleged Martha McCallum, when she was talking, it's, she is, I think, summing it up for a lot of people, although I'm with you on that. I think she was decided long before the debate. But when he's talking about that...
Well, I don't know that. I simply, after I heard her...
I didn't say you know it. I just said that it sounds like she is. Right. And so here's the thing. The problem is that if you tuned out of the debate, because where does it move the needle? Where's the potential for it moving the needle? Well, if you watched the entire debate to the closing statement and you're not a wonk, you really wanted to tune in and see, I need to gauge both of them. Who were you actually watching for? You're watching for her. He's a known quantity. And you're asking yourself, could I vote for him? And is she actually better than him? So at the end of it, there are many major concerns on Trump's performance. He didn't do what we did, what we said he should have done yesterday, and that is define her. And he, in fact, in his closing statement, that should have been at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that should have been repeated over and over and over again on the issues over and over again. She doesn't want to seal the border. She's not pro-fracking. Now, he did along the way with Pennsylvania. She would shut down fracking day one in Pennsylvania. But they're in Pennsylvania. And so that was, the debate took place in Pennsylvania. But the what he didn't do is also what she didn't do. She didn't define herself politically. That leaves it up to, and again, we believe you're smart enough. Not everybody takes the opportunity But if you're willing, you can find out the issues on these candidates and who they actually are, because they both have a history. She doesn't have a history of actually leading, but on the issues, you know where she is. And if you don't know where she is by now, between now and November 5th, or whenever you're going to vote, you're going to be able to learn that if you're willing to do it. And so there you have it. She didn't define herself. He didn't define her. That was a huge missed opportunity. But she didn't define herself either. And that's a problem. Nobody knows where she actually stands. If you don't know where she stands by now, you didn't get it from tonight. We know where she stands. We know where she is on the dial. We know exactly where she is.
Well, the polls show that America does too.
I think the majority of them do.
The majority knows that she's not.
But for those people,
Right.
for those people tuning in, looking to again, if you didn't know where she stood by tonight, you still don't know. If you had that question in your mind, then you still have that question in your mind.
Right. Well, here's ABC. Here's Rachel Scott from ABC. All right, here we go. Her analysis of it.
Vice President Kamala Harris did not do a great job today really explaining her policy shifts, right? And that is what they have been seizing on. They're really trying to define her for voters when voters have a lot of questions about her policy positions.
And nothing has been clarified.
Right.
From her at all.
Right.
866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Did you know that up to half of all major engine failures are due to poor cooling system maintenance? That's a lot of downtime and can cost drivers big. You expect a lot from your engine, which is why the cooling system must be a part of your maintenance routine. Here's a tip to keep your cooling system in shape and your engine running smooth. Most cooling system issues are due to lack of coolant caused by leaks. Perform a pressure test to make sure no leaks are present. While this may cause the system to fail, you want it to fail in the shop, not on the road. If your pressure test uncovers any leaks in the system, have them repaired by a professional technician immediately.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. I thought one of her worst points was when he was talking about inflation and how tough things are for people, and she's smiling.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's arrogance.
I look for moments like that because what's still important to the American public is inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation in the border. And nobody believes she's going to be tougher on the border. You know, you can throw in energy prices and energy and things like that. Nobody believes that she's for fracking. There's not one Democrat out there that believes that Kamala Harris is for fracking, even after the debate.
No.
And I will say this, they even said, you said this before, and said this in 20. She goes, I've been very, very clear. And she's talking about the one time where she said Biden would not ban all fracking.
Right, yeah.
And she was saying in the debate for her that yes, she would, yes, she would, yes, she would, yes, she would.
Yeah.
You know, and so
well, the clip out there of her saying, yes, you know, we would, yes, we would, yes, we would. You know, sorry, she has to own that. She can try and pass that off to Biden, but you don't get away with that politically.
Here it is, Trafalgar, which was the second most accurate pollster in the 2020 election. Supporting the president before the debate, 47% Trump, 47% Harris. Who won the debate? Harris 55%, Trump 43%. Who are you voting for now? Trump 48, Harris 48 after the debate.
Yeah.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Overall, though, on the issues that matter, and that's why I played some of the voters that were undecided, that's what you're going for. You're going for independence. And so what you want to do is focus on the things that they care about, which are two things, the two most important things, the economy and immigration. Trump has never, he's never been good at deflecting. But and so he should have deflected to those points more. But he didn't do a bad job. I thought he did a great thing when they talked about chips, being made in China. I think he did a great job when he talked about how she has flip-flopped on everything. I agree with you that I thought his ending statement should have been his beginning statement. A lot of the things, because it's like, well, who won the debate? And it's like, well, that's sort of the theater. What do you mean by that? Trump is always Trump. I saw this. Well, Trump is angry, and she's not. She seems to be more positive. But if I'm an independent, I'm angry.
Yeah. If you're right now, if you believe the future decides that our future is going to be decided by this election, if you're underwater, which many families are, if you're done with the whole border thing, and the violence in neighborhoods and all of this and the rise in crime, you're looking for a solution and you are angry. Joy? For what? Are we holding a party at the White House? We're going to do an Easter egg roll every Monday? What the hell do you vote for? You vote for somebody who smiles? The Joker smiles. What are you doing? What do you actually want? And that's who's watching. Those are the people that are watching till the end of the debate. And that's where Trump gets the benefit from his closing statement, because they're waiting for somebody to say, these things need to be fixed. And he did get those points across. They're responsible for breaking them. He did get those points across. Be careful about what you see in the media right now with the polls, because perception is reality, but perception is also fleeting.
Well, I think the point is, will anybody be talking about this next Monday?
That's my point. And because she won the debate. How much of that is, man, I thought she was going to come out and literally fall flat on her face. And she didn't. She was able to construct complete sentences. So I can't tell you that because I don't know that anybody polled that or anybody would poll that. I would, but then as a pollster, I'd go broke immediately. And these are the things. This is not going to be something that carries through like the last debate did and changes the election like the last debate did. Because you're still wondering if you care. I have to believe you do. If you care about the economy, look, if you're Taylor Swift, of course you don't care about the economy. You have a concern about your boyfriend because he's only a millionaire. Ew. You're trying to work it out. You're trying to make sure that everything comes together. But quite frankly, you've got enough money, and if you don't, he has a little money too. You're not being affected by this. American people every single day are being affected by this. And you're asking, what are you going to do? And then you have to just put everything else aside. And you have to look at, okay, which of them do I believe is actually capable of leading us to a better economy? Because economy's number one, border's number two. Nobody buys that she wants to secure the border. So those two things right now, Trump wins all day long. Yes, people will vote for people who smile And that's tragic. But if you do, you're a moron.
And nobody believes that she's not going to be taking anybody's guns away. I mean, how many times has she talked about that she'd be for a mandatory buyback program? I'm going to play that cut here. I will say this, though. It is I view this as a high point for her, because a high point for a Democrat is when you can lie with confidence.
Yeah. By comparison.
Yes.
Yeah.
By comparison, like a Biden.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
And the look on Trump's face is fantastic. He's smiling like, you're full of manure. I mean,
right.
It's like, and nobody buys that, because she has said she wants to have a mandatory a gun buyback. She stated that over and over and over again. Right. So when you look at the things that are important, number one, the gun debate isn't even a debate. There isn't a gun owner who really believes that Trump and Kamala Harris are the same on gun rights.
Right.
There's not a gun owner out there that believes. There's not one Democrat that believes that.
No.
And there's not one Democrat that believes that Kamala Harris wants to be stricter on the border than Trump.
Right. There's not one Democrat that believes she's pro-fracking.
Not one. Not one. They all know that she's lying, but she's lying, and she had the ability to lie with confidence, and she was able to do it in the perception of her being cross-examined, where she really wasn't being cross-examined like Trump was from the two moderators.
Right.
Yep. I think I saw 11 times, in the CNN debate, they never said anything. They just let both parties talk.
Right.
And but again, that's Trump's, that's Trump and Trump's campaign's fault. We told them, don't agree to one debate on ABC. Right. Now, she says she wants another one, but the fact is now you should have arranged this back then. And it was very simple, and he always seemed to be hemming and hawing on that. You and I said, what the hell's going on with the campaign? This is simple. No, we did 2 debates. We had 2 debates scheduled with Biden. We want 2 debates with you. We want one on ABC and one on Fox. If you don't agree to it, that's fair. Then we're not going to have a debate because you truly don't want to have it. And then you leave it, you walk away. Nobody would have really cared.
Mm-hmm.
It would not have been a deal because he would have made at that point, that would have been a reasonable thing to do, right? That's fair. And that's who you're going for, the independent. And for some reason, they caved on that. Now, where she will negotiate now, because the campaign says they want another debate, and now the talking heads, what does that mean? That she believes she lost the debate, or that she won the debate, or she believes she lost the debate and needs more room, or that Trump can be baited so easily. Trump, I believe, won the first 20 minutes when the majority of the discussion was on abortion. And when he tagged her on, basically you want abortion up to birth, and then they got burned on that one because the moderators did it. And obviously we know that there are Democrat states, and there are Democrats based on the law in these states where abortion is legal to birth.
Yeah.
And so and he did, and then she baited him, and he fell for it about his rallies, that the rallies are boring, and he fell right into it's like, just put out the worm for Trump, and he's going to bite on this. He is. But the fact is, nobody really cares about that. If you're an independent, nobody cares.
Well, just like him talking about rally size, nobody cares about her comments of people leaving rallies.
Right.
They just don't.
Right. They don't care.
Also, January 6th is already behind us. People have already priced that in one way or the other. Nobody's learning anything by you bringing up, and it doesn't matter which one brings it up. No one is going to change their mind based on that.
So the things that he took the bait on were issues that have already been vetted or don't matter to people.
Right.
Rally size doesn't matter to anybody.
Right.
People leaving rallies doesn't matter to anybody.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. The independent right now, what do they care about? What's the most important issue? Inflation, the border.
Yep. And those two are neck and neck.
Yeah.
They are tied for number one.
Yep. And I thought she had a bad, when she said she agreed, with Biden on Afghanistan. Boy, that was a bad day to say that one.
Yeah.
And then when she compared, I'll tell you another bad one, when she compared January 6th to 9/11.
Right.
Basically saying January 6th was worse than 9/11.
Right.
On the eve of
day
9/11.
The anniversary of 9/11, right. Yeah.
But is that what the Independent cares about? Or do they just go, okay, that's just rhetorical garbage? Inflation, the border. Inflation, the border. Inflation, the border.
The question in my mind, and this is the question that every independent or undecided voter has right now. What are you going to, I've been repeating it in my brain. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? How are you going to fix this? We're not talking about abstract issues. We're talking about two massive issues. The border, which falls under national security, and the economy with inflation. And people are screaming because they've been underwater for a long time. They're looking for somebody to throw them a life raft, and they aren't getting it from her. So what? Now, he didn't define her, but she didn't define herself tonight.
Well,
and there's the problem, too, is that now people are going to go, okay, but how does she really think? What does she really want to do? The images on social media, everything, all the fact checkers that are out there, the liberal media, the moderators, they're going to do what they do. But they're irrelevant if you want to find the truth. Where I think he did partially define her is that it's all a flip-flop. She doesn't actually believe it. And sure.
Here's one of the moments where he said that. Here we go.
I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
That was good. I mean, that was defining her as a fraud.
Sure. Yep.
So I don't think he could have defined her better, but he did define her. That you listen to that, and you're an independent, and you're like, yeah, he's right.
Well, then it gets down to the convincibility of Trump. Do people look at that and consider that? And I don't know. I can't tell you. It could be that people look at that and go, at the very least, they might look at it and go, is he right about that? And then do their own homework. If you're curious, if you actually want to know, you're going to do the follow-up and fact-checking yourself. And that's the brilliance of and what we said back in 2016.
I don't think...
throw things, and let people do their fact-checking because the media fact-checking is a joke.
But I don't think you need to do fact-checking on the border and on inflation. You feel that. You've seen it. The news reports are all over the place. If
you're undecided right now, then you have some fact-checking that you need to do.
Well, you should have been doing the fact-checking a long time ago if we're this far in the election.
I agree wholeheartedly. We're focusing on the people who say they're still undecided. If that's the case, and we're less than 2 months out, you're probably having to do some extreme fact-checking right now.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. More on the debate coming up, more audio cuts coming up, and where Trump actually, where Trump was effective. Now, on foreign policy isn't one of the top issues of Americans right now. It's still important when it comes to our, national defense, whatever, and he brought it up. Mm-hmm. He brought up about the weakness of the military and the weakness of the Biden administration in negotiating with Ukraine, went after Afghanistan, and we'll get to some of those audio cuts all coming up here.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
When you think about it, the debate last night was sort of a microcosm of Trump versus liberals. Mm-hmm. And you had, for example, and in fact, we've got two side-by-sides to play of Harris. Democrats lie about major positions that they hold.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Trump goes down stupid rabbit holes that don't matter.
Right.
And that's why, again, it gets frustrating when you go, God, just don't go there. Hit the, just pound the same thing over and over and over again. I don't care if you sound like it. I don't care if you sound like you're repeating yourself. Trump was too redundant because he kept saying that the Democrats caused the immigration crisis and caused the inflation that we had today. By the way, did he say that? I don't ever remember him saying they caused the inflation. They caused what's going on at the border.
I don't know on inflation. In his closing statement, pointing to I don't know that he used the word caused, but he did. Your point is that at a rally, a speech that he gave, he actually said it, or no?
Yeah, he did.
An interview. Where was that?
Yeah, because we played that.
Yeah,
we played that on the air when he said it. Yeah,
which was, but I just can't remember where it was. Yeah. But it was I think it was an interview where he said, they can't fix it because they caused it, which is something we said almost verbatim. But I think those were the points he was trying to make essentially in the closing statement. I think he got the idea across.
But when you look at it's a microcosm of Trump is very, very consistent in where he stands on the issues always.
Yeah.
He's always had the same opinions on the same issues.
Mm-hmm.
She's flip-flopping on all the major issues. Yeah. And let's go to some of the side-by-sides that are starting to come out now, or came out here in the last couple of hours on social media. This one would be on banning fracking. Here we go.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue. And to your point, we have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities. Yeah.
There you go. Yep. And remember, what she's pointing out is when she became the vice presidential nominee, and she said Biden isn't for a total ban on fracking.
Yeah.
Not her.
Right. And the technicality on guns is we're not going to be taking your guns. We're going through a mandate. We're going to buy back your guns.
Well, but it's
the plausible deniability along the way.
Well, the funny thing is, because I think, when did she say, what did she say Trump was lying on? Was it on fracking?
I think there was actually a few things.
Because then she's saying that the moderators were lying. Excuse me, the political activists, the liberal political activists were lying because they're the ones that said, you had this position here, this position here, this position here. They actually made Trump's point.
Yeah.
They made it.
By the way, an ABC poll, someone just posted this a little while ago. An ABC, so it's not my original. An ABC poll finds that people believe David Muir won the debate.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
it's
funny.
I was telling you that it's someone that we both know in the sporting world that is a well-known liberal.
Yeah.
That the analysis of them was the moderators were horrible.
Right.
It's like, wow.
That's the difference. We know conservatives and Republicans should know and should not be surprised. It's not any breaking news. But you look also in the phrasing of the questions, and if you're a liberal, you understand that. You know that.
Yeah. Oh, it was on guns, I think, where she called him a liar.
Okay.
Here we go. Here.
And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand.
What would you do about the millions of, specifically, assault weapons that are already in circulation? What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
So they're not going to take your guns. Technically, you'll get money.
Well, that's still because when
that's her plausible deniability MO now.
Well, that's sort of like saying that eminent domain is not taking your property.
Well, it's like saying somebody in my campaign said it, but I didn't say it.
Exactly.
I mean, let's remember who we're talking about here.
And so those, again, every Democrat knows that every major flip-flop that Kamala Harris has done, everyone knows it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows it. Every Democrat knows it.
Right.
And the fact is, I would love to see if anybody has said that on any show on MSNBC. Look, we all know she's lying. We're okay with it because she knows she's going to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Trump brought that up.
Yeah, right.
He brought that up. So, like I said, you have to look at it. That's why we hardly ever. I mean, when it's so obvious, like in the Biden thing where he just had no cognitive abilities, it was like, my God. Trump just
that fell apart within the first few minutes.
But as we said, you have to look at it and you say, what are the impressions that are made? Because, okay, I think she won it because she looked. I had a friend of mine. She posted to me, or not posted. She sent me a text and went, "Yeah, Trump was Trump, but she looked a lot more polished, but they were lies." I'm like, well, yeah, that's what confident lies. She had polished lies on things that nobody actually believes.
Actually, that's some of the first analysis that I saw on X. She came out a little shaky, but then she found her legs, but everything was lies.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, somebody in the liberal media that was actually, not the liberal media, but somebody in the media, mainstream media, that was making that observation. It wasn't a conservative who was doing that.
And he brought up Trump brought up the flip-flops. Here we go. Here's one of the cuts here.
Fracking? She's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police. She's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
That was actually a good moment.
No, I think it was if you wanted a viral moment, that was definitely a good one.
It was actually a very very good moment.
It's trending right now on X.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it has been since we came in. Yeah. So, you know, that's and there's the thing too, is that I think what are the takeaways? You know, a viral moment isn't going to change anybody's mind. But keep in mind how this whole thing went down and why she didn't want muted mics. And she went and someone told her, "Hey, forget it. Even if your mic is muted, say it."
Well, I do believe that they don't, that the Democrats, you know, that they believe, I could be wrong, but I mean, when it came out that, you know, the Harris campaign wants another debate, well, that proves that they lost because otherwise she wouldn't do it. I think it might be the opposite. I think they were surprised how easy it was to bait Donald Trump to go down rabbit holes that didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But where they're wrong on that is those are the things that they brought up that the American public has either vetted or really don't care about.
Yeah, right.
Because it wasn't on inflation, it wasn't on the border, and it wasn't on the obvious lies that, you know, she's as pro-gun as Trump, and she's pro-fracking.
Right.
So, but I think they look at it and go, wow, we got Trump went down those rabbit holes, but the rabbit holes really didn't matter. They frustrate that you could tell, obviously, Trump supporters were frustrated by it, going, come on, he can destroy you on this. Go do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go down the rabbit hole. The only thing is the rabbit holes didn't matter.
No.
They didn't matter to what independents
It's
are
not
actually
going to
looking
change.
for.
It's not whether she makes a point on one of the rabbit hole issues or he makes a point. It's not going to change anybody's vote. It's not going to sway anybody to vote one way or the other. You know?
Mm-hmm.
The side-by-sides of where she's lying, that goes to her pattern of lying on the stage overall. You know, on the Second Amendment issue, people are pro-Second Amendment. They don't buy that she's pro-Second Amendment. You know, that's one of the oldest plays out of the liberal playbook. I own a gun. Uh-huh. My vice presidential nominee owns a gun. Right. Yeah, we get the whole Elmer Fudd thing. But you're not convincing anybody. But those side-by-side moments that show she's clearly lying, that right there will definitely have an impact. And it's playing out on social media right now in a big way. And it will continue to do that.
Let me play more from independents or in battleground states. This is one on Arizona on MSNBC after.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Mm-hmm. Understand this on MSNBC. Here we go.
We still have to have a controlled border, a secure border, because, yeah, we've had a lot of people going through the border illegally. My family went through a long process to get here legally. So I feel that it's unfair for hundreds of thousands to get here without problems, and then for the federal government to help them out. We've also lost Americans because how many illegals we're letting in, like the young boy from Ohio who had killed by illegal immigrants.
That was presidential debate analysis on MSNBC.
Yeah.
Them even allowing it, they didn't know what, I guarantee they didn't know what the answer was going to be at that point.
Yeah, right.
And so when you get to the issues that actually matter, she hasn't at all defined herself as being tougher because nobody believes it. Everybody knows it's obviously a lie.
Right.
And when you have even the radical political activist on ABC call her on all of those, if you're calling Trump a liar, that you've truly changed your position, then you got to call the leftist political activists who agree with you on ABC, you got to call them liars.
Right.
So, no, that's why I said it's a microcosm of what we've really dealt with for a while. Trump likes to go down rabbit holes that are useless, and it's frustrating as hell, but they really don't matter because they're not about the issues, and Democrats lie about where they stand on the major issues as she's doing in order to get your vote and then do what they want and look at you and go, God, you're a fool.
Mm-hmm.
And as the one independent brought that up, Look, Biden did the same thing. In the battleground state of Pennsylvania, Biden did the same thing. Said he was moderating, got in. He wasn't. Sorry. We can't give her that opportunity.
There's no way you can trust it.
866-98-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Leased owner-operators should be aware of 4 common revenue myths, lest you fall into the trap of mistaking revenue for profit. Myth 1, concentrate on increasing revenue because costs will take care of themselves. This is not true, as costs are fundamental to the profit equation and the area where owners exert the most control to improve. Myth 2, more revenue per mile is the answer to all problems. Though carrier pay packages differ in structure, revenue per mile really doesn't change much from company to company. But there can be a big difference in miles, overall gross revenue, reimbursements, and fees. Myth 3, all you have to do to be successful is run a lot of miles. In reality, revenue is only half of the profit equation. Costs are the other half. It's possible to generate a lot of revenue, yet spend $1.10 to make every dollar. Myth 4, you can tell how well you're doing by the size of your settlement check. The settlement check is only a part of the success picture. Miles driven, loads hauled, conditions, mechanical problems, time off, and especially costs all have to be considered. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Here's another independent from Pennsylvania voter who was undecided because both Afghanistan came up and Ukraine came up. In fact, we'll have it. We were in the hallway during the break here, and we were just talking about the military stuff that was brought up, and
him positioning her as pro-war,
as pro-war,
right?
And the Ukraine thing about her being the negotiator, and boom,
yeah.
Kamala Harris goes in, negotiate, that she's a bad negotiator. She goes negotiate something. A few days later, Putin invades.
Right.
That's a solid point, a very, very solid point.
And by the way, I'll retract my earlier statement in that, and it wasn't really a statement. I was observing what people were saying and what people were thinking after the debate, and that he didn't define her. And then I said, well, yeah, but she didn't define herself. But actually, if you go through things, he did position her on many things that count to people, including pro-war and the border and fracking and guns and everything else. I mean, guns isn't the top issue, but national defense, including the border, is.
Because how you define her is not. We know where she stands on the issue.
Right.
You define her as somebody who's lying to the American public about where she stands now.
And the side-by-sides display those lies very, very well.
But here's the Pennsylvania voter, and this is on Afghanistan. Here we go.
When I first heard that we were abandoning or we were withdrawing from Afghanistan and the way it was happening, I had my Kennedy moment. It was very similar to when we decided to invade Iraq back under President Bush. And when I saw that we were leaving that amount of high-tech equipment in the hands of our enemy, and later that day or later that week, I saw on the news where them celebrating with our guns in their hands, I realized what a travesty that was. In the loss of money in that we abandoned when we left, plus the very bullets that we left there that they were shooting at us as we flew away into planes.
I mean,
on CNN, just so people know, that's on CNN.
Yeah.
Let's go to Tom in Annapolis, Maryland. Tom, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Hi.
Thank you. I have 4 or 5 quick points I'll go through. Start with national security. I'm retired military. Used to teach military history at the Naval Academy, blah, blah, blah. But here's what I'd like to say. There's 3 bad actors in the world right now. Russia invaded Ukraine. China will invade Taiwan as quick as they can get Trump out of the way if she wins. And then you got of course, Iran. And Iran is behind the Hamas. They're behind Hezbollah. They're behind the Houthis.
We don't look. We don't, Tom, we don't have a lot of time.
Well,
how does this relate to the debate? What's the point?
Well, you don't have a lot of time because you can't. Okay, the one thing he should have said is not lose his temper. And Bernie Sanders said something very revealing the other day. They asked him, "Hey, why is she changing all of her approaches or her policies and the border and everything else?" He said she was just being pragmatic. She's worried,
Right, she's lying. But I don't understand where you were going on that though. But appreciate the call.
Yeah. Okay.
Call and join the conversation. 1-866-90-RED-EYE. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. Now, one of the things that we led off with the show with was you've got the partisans afterwards. She won. He won. Let's take a poll. Who won? Who won? And, you see we mentioned the Trafalgar poll, which Trafalgar was the second most accurate poll. I didn't even know the first accurate poll that they had up there. I'd never heard of it. So from polls that I've heard before, Trafalgar in 2020 was the number one pollster. All right. And so they did a poll yesterday on the national poll, and before the debate, it was 47-47. Then who won the debate? And Trafalgar had Harris winning 55-43, and then afterwards, the debate, they also took the poll which said, all right, who are you going to vote for now? And it was 48-48. So it's like it didn't move at all. You and I had said we've never really, except when it's so incredibly obvious, like the Biden debate that was just, and that wasn't even a debate. That was just watching somebody's cognitive abilities, appear before your eyes. That's what that was. Right. But as we look at it, and if you were to ask me who won based on what I think, of course it was Trump.
Yeah,
because
we're looking at the issues,
right? Because all I look at is the issues. I don't care. Oh, by the way, did you see the one? You know what they coached her on? They coached her. Did you see when she put her hand under her chin?
Yeah,
numerous times, and looked and just look at him like, oh, what is this guy doing? That was all calculated, and it was also brought up not one cackle. But as we said, it doesn't matter what I think. And like I said, to me, it was a microcosm of what Trump has been and what Democrats have been. Not just Harris, but what Democrats have been in general, which is they lie where they stand on the issues in order to get elected, just like Biden did in 2020. And Trump brought that up yesterday, and Trump just goes down stupid rabbit holes that don't matter.
Right.
And you're just like, why? But they don't matter. And that's the difference now is Trump is a known quantity, so people are going, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so the point is, what do independents think when you actually talk with them? Not just say who won the debate, because you can sit there and say, okay, who won the debate? Well, I thought she looked better. Well, you're going to vote that way now.
Right.
Because of it. Here's someone that was on, I almost said Phil Donahue.
Gary, I love being compared to Phil Donahue, but I am not Phil Donahue. I'm Dr. Phil. Get it straight.
This is Dr. Phil in his post-debate town hall.
You need to sort out your life, Gary.
With a woman who wanted Harris to do better.
Yeah.
Wanted her to do better in the debate, and here's what she got out of it.
Hi, my name is Shelley. I'm also standing, so. I think, I came into this with an open mind. I really, really wanted Vice President Harris to hit it out of the park. I don't think she did. I think she did better than some people expected her to. The cackle was not there. I kept waiting for it, and it didn't come. But I still didn't get answers. I didn't get answers to fundamental questions that we need to know as voters. And we just keep getting circled around that.
Like what? What did you not get an answer to?
Her economic plans. What is an opportunity economy? What does that mean? Who's paying for the tax cuts that she's proposing? Because in my opinion, giving people down payment assistance on houses just drives inflation up higher. Who's paying for all of these child tax credits? That's just the taxpayers coming out of pocket and hurting the middle class again. So I don't think that we got to the meat and potatoes of the things that really matter. And we know from Donald Trump's presidency before, he can fix the economy. So I was really looking for her to make an impact on my thought process tonight, and she didn't deliver that.
There you have exactly what we've been saying.
That was almost our closing statement yesterday.
Yeah.
Where we said Trump's a known quantity. Trump doesn't have to explain what he's going to do. They already know. Well, it was better back then.
Yep.
The other thing is she didn't answer the question. I'll see if I can find the audio cut. Just remind me. Is the economy better? Are things better now than they were 4 years ago? Right. And she didn't answer the question.
No, and people know they certainly know the answer themselves. They don't have to. And when you're dismissive like that, when you ignore it and you dance around it, and you're trying to come off as joyful, not everybody is joyful. People are upset right now because they're struggling. We're talking about right now just coming out of the back to school, if even that. And you're looking a couple of months down the road till Christmas. People want to know, what are you going to do? This is exactly what you heard here. I've been saying that. I've been walking around for months now going, okay, what's the independent thinking? And just the one question in my mind that independents have, and this is, it's no real, big moment that I had. It's just a very basic question, actually, and that is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And that was my point of the earlier respondent in the audience saying Trump's closing statement. People who are listening for the answer to that question, what are you going to do about it? They already have it from him because he's already been there. He's already done it. They're listening for her, and she just said it. This respondent just said it. I was waiting for that moment being, what are you going to do about it? And she didn't get it from Kamala Harris, and that's the biggest failure of the campaign. I would have, if I don't know what you do. I mean, look, lying clearly was rule number one. The strategy by the Kamala Harris campaign was to lie. Well, if you're going to lie, then come in and say, we are going to, from day one, we are going to improve. We're going to work on the economy. You just throw three things out, something. That's what this, now we don't believe it. Our audience doesn't believe it. But the respondent you just heard was waiting to hear something, and she didn't hear it. She said it, too, about Trump. Trump's already a known quantity. He's already proven he can improve the economy, and she didn't get anything from Kamala Harris. That's a massive failure because it doesn't matter the back and forth. It doesn't matter the rabbit holes. It doesn't matter the moments because none of that has any bearing. That's like watching a movie the next day. You go back to work. You go back to real life, and nothing comes from it. Nothing changes any minds here because she didn't define herself.
And that's why we started out the show. Well, first off, yesterday there was one of, I think, both of our closing statements before the debate, that the reason it's so tough for her is the fact that on all of her flip-flops, she really doesn't believe it.
Right.
And she can't ask the question. She cannot be, the only thing she could do is, because she has flip-flopped on fracking.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't held to that saying, well, why did you change your mind? She simply said, no, I held that opinion in 2020. No, right. She said Biden held that opinion.
Right.
Herself, she did not hold that opinion. And, of course, they didn't fact-check her on it. But there isn't anybody that believes that any major Democrat is pro-fracking.
No.
Nobody believes that to begin with. So that wasn't believable. But the whole point was people already know Trump. Trump doesn't have to explain what he's going to do. He's already done it.
Yep.
The Harris Biden administration, and I like that because people are like, well, actually, she might be more in charge because he's just disappeared.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's a
Where
great
is
point.
he? Exactly.
That the Harris Biden administration, they've made it worse.
Yep.
It's not as good. So how's she going to differ from the Biden administration? What's she going to do different? Precisely what is she going to do different? And she can't answer those questions.
No.
And there are so many major flip-flops that nobody buys it. And that's the problem that Harris has today. By the way, I just saw this. I was going through National Review just like this. You ready for this headline?
All right.
Childless cat lady Taylor Swift endorses Harris moments after debate wraps.
Oh, my gosh. That's funny. That's hilarious.
Oh, my gosh. I just saw that. Now, that is humor. So what that woman said is right. That woman didn't say, and I understand, because when I came in, I already had the messages. Trump went down rabbit holes. Why is he talking about this? Stick to the issues. And that's why we started the show by saying, look, I understand, because when Trump goes down those rabbit holes, it infuriates a lot of Trump supporters. Like, focus, focus, focus. The only thing is, doesn't matter. You didn't hear that woman once say, I think Trump lied about Haitians killing cats.
Right. No, the toxicity is gone.
Right. I can't handle how Trump, where size of the crowd matters.
The toxicity is gone. They're trying to bring it back. The Democrats are clearly trying to bring it back, but it doesn't stick.
The woman didn't bring up January 6th.
Right. No.
And so when you look at debates, of course, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you, well, yeah, Trump, in my opinion, of what I want to see, landslide.
Yep.
Because I know where he stands on the two issues, and he said, he basically pointed out what everybody knows. That's the thing. Trump's job wasn't hard. And at times, he did his job very well, which was like, she doesn't believe these things.
Right.
She's becoming, I was going to send her a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
That's very, very effective.
Right.
It's like, yeah, she's just saying what Trump said in order to get my vote.
By the way, it is very effective. It's what we did with a Kamaga and the whole thing. And Trump is the great uniter because she's changing her opinions to be more like Trump. He did that on stage in short form, and something like that is one of those seeds where he was going to send her a MAGA hat. When you say something like that, you're saying, and we said it yesterday, I think we said it maybe last week even, saying not only is she lying, she's lying to appear more like me.
Yeah.
And I think he even delivered it even further in that moment, saying I was thinking about sending her a MAGA hat.
And so when you look at the independents that again, the ones that we have played for you, it's all about the substance. Where is the substance of what she is going to do? It's not there. I don't need Trump. He's defined. He's vetted completely. I need to find out about her. So if he goes down rabbit holes, I don't care.
Right.
I'm an independent. I don't care about that stuff. That stuff's all, I want to know what she's going to do. I really don't care about Trump. I care. That's what you see this from these independents. I don't care about Trump. The economy was better. I care about her. She's not explaining herself. So the fact that, she looks or she smiles or she puts her, hand under her chin to sort of look in that condescending way, like, oh, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you're doing is, what you don't understand is people are looking at it. And when Trump talks about inflation hurting people and she's smiling about it, well, that's the core issue. People are, how are you going to make my life better?
Yes. What are you going to do about it? And that's why those rabbit hole moments fall away, because people immediately go back to the serious nature of what's going on in their lives. And right now, reality dominates. And the reality is a bad economy, inflation they can't get beyond. and a border that is broken beyond repair, some believe.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Interesting, the focus group that Dr. Phil had. I'm just going to play this here. Here we go. All right. This is Dr. Phil, post-debate town hall. All right.
Raise your hand if the border is a big issue. Okay. Who won the debate about the border tonight? If you think that Kamala Harris had the strongest position on the border tonight, raise your hand. 4 of you.
There's probably 100 people in the audience.
Yeah.
4. It's like, whoa.
And
the vast majority raise their hand that the border is a very, very important issue. The vast majority of, I'm guessing 75 to 100 people are in that room.
And I want to talk to those 4 people. Because are they talking about the border of Ukraine? Because then they might have a point that she would be stronger on the border of Ukraine than the U.S. border. Yes.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara.
Hi.
Here would be the question. On what major issue did Kamala Harris defeat Donald Trump on in the debate? On what major issue of concern did Kamala Harris have the winning argument over Trump?
Right. Where's that?
And cats being eaten, crowd size. What else was meaningless? And look, and I understand that because I was what I thought was interesting was and this is a few conservative talk show hosts that I know out there that are so inside the beltway of Washington.
Right. By the way, I thought when you started out, I understand because I thought you were going to say, I'm a cat owner. And I'm glad you didn't say that.
Hey, Willie, let me eat my cat. We can do Alf here. Okay? Hey, Willie, friends with presents are the best friends of all. That's not a good Alf. People go like, who the hell's Alf? It's like, right. I said
I was
that.
under 80.
I was saying that to somebody the other day who's in their 40s, and they went, who the hell's Alf?
Who's Alf?
It's like, oh.
What? What? Huh? What?
Alf was actually an illegal.
Right. When you say to them, hey, do you like Prince? They say, William or Harry? Oh, jeez.
But that's what it comes down to, and that's what you're hearing from independents. And if anybody, and I'm looking for the independents that said, well, Trump lied about the cats, so I'm not going to vote for him. Like,
yeah.
Well, okay, you're not an independent.
Right.
You were never an independent to begin with. And that's why when it comes down to it, and I understand because we've dealt with Trump now since really 2015.
Mm-hmm. You and I have been covering him going back, I mean...
long time. Yes.
A very long time, but I mean, politically, 2011, because he was flirting with running in 2012, and he never did.
Well, when he was...
He's at the Republican Women's Convention.
Oh,
in Vegas.
I mean, oh God, with
throwing down the F-bomb multiple times. You're going to need to change that when you're talking to women.
Well, I know because we were the ones, and the book came out like in 2000 where he was promoting the wealth tax.
Right.
And we were like, shut up.
Yeah. Exactly.
But since his supporters of him, they know for last 9 years, they really know, what he's about. They know his strengths and they know his weaknesses. Mm-hmm. And that's why you had it's a conservative talk show host. See what you get, talking to the apparent influencers out there that were talking about cats, and since Trump brought up the cats and all that see what you've done, you've just ruined this. And I'm like, boy, you're really inside Washington, because independents really don't give a damn about that.
Right.
They don't. What they care about is, wait a minute, you're talking about, what's this whole cat story about, huh? What's a cat story about? That some Haitian immigrants are eating cats, and there's some video of it where it's happening, but the government says no. Well, I certainly don't like cats to be eaten, but what are 20,000 immigrants doing in a small town? How did that happen?
Yeah, right.
And so that really was the issue, and I'm just like, wow. We get so, one of the best things for us, I think, is that we broadcast out of Texas. You're not inside the Beltway.
Yeah, right.
And so you're really outside of the media loop. You're just not involved, in that. You're not, that influence is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things with last night's debate from conservatives looking at it, and I understand why, because you look at it and you go, when Trump goes down a rabbit hole, that's one more opportunity he has given up as, to go against her in a very substantial way that will easily defeat her.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but it didn't do any harm.
Right.
Because people don't care about it at the end of the day. They already know what Trump thinks. What they're looking for is, because Trump said it. He said it numerous times. She's flip-flopped. She really doesn't believe this. And the independents are saying, we still don't know where she stands. Well, then that's a Trump win. Yeah, but she won on style points because she was able to be coherent. And I want to play this audio here, because that's basically what Jonathan Karl is saying to J.D. Vance in the spin room afterwards.
Right.
And let's go to that audio. Here we go.
You said that's why I was seeking clarification. But let me ask you about this for just very quickly. I heard Donald Trump before this debate describe Kamala Harris as, I'll just read a few of them, a low IQ individual, somebody who doesn't have the mental capacity to be president, really dumb, unable to put two sentences together. Is that what you saw on the stage tonight?
John, what I saw was a lot of slogans. I think the American people are smart, and Kamala Harris talks to them like they're children. She repeats these ridiculous platitudes where if you actually think about what she said, you realize that it doesn't make any sense. She talks a lot about her plans, but then her plans, when you analyze the substance, don't make any sense. And more importantly, John, the American people don't get fed on plans. She has been the vice president for 3.5 years. What she can't do, refuses to do, and has no ability to do is to say, I accomplished lower prices, because she didn't. Or I accomplished lower housing prices because she didn't. Or I secured the southern border because she didn't do that. She has failed as vice president. And the fundamental question is, do we want to give her a promotion? I think the answer has to be no, John.
You see how he was trying to interrupt?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
but you see that what they're trying to do is, Trump was saying that she couldn't put two sentences together. She can put two sentences together. That's where the mainstream media is now saying that's why she's so much better than Biden. Biden couldn't put two sentences together. She can.
Well, they're all freaked out about it This is why you see this bounce tonight. She won. What they're saying is she can put two sentences together. Oh, my gosh. They're surprised by it. She outperformed herself. She didn't outperform Trump. She outperformed Kamala Harris.
And that's why, it's very important to look at that the independents out there that and independents and voters with their own self-interest, because that's what's most important.
Yeah.
Everything is economics.
Right.
Folks, everything is economics. And economics is what? How people respond to incentive, which means what? Their own self-interest. Where are they right now? And you're talking about the border problem. As we said, the perfect microcosm last week for liberals, the perfect microcosm of where they are today. Maybe it may be a macrocosm.
Yeah, it could be.
Did I make up that word? Was in California, where the reparations stalled. The cash reparations stalled.
Right.
And it's like, well, there's more things for reparations than cash. I didn't hear anything from the activists. The major point was we want millions of dollars for reparations.
Right.
Well, after all the to-do of the liberals, yes, we need to put together these reparations panels. And then San Francisco says we don't even have the money for the panel. We can't even have an office open for reparations. We don't have the money. After all this to do over the last 3.5 years of the Biden administration, $5 million, $10 million, $200 million per eligible recipient, California comes out and says, nope, sorry, it's stalling. We don't have the money. And at the same time say, we're going to give $150,000 to help illegal immigrants build homes in California.
Right.
The reparations activists went absolutely crazy. And by Friday, well, sorry, Newsom gets up there and says, well, yeah, we'd like to do everything for everybody, but we're liberals and we've spent all the money. We don't have money for the $150,000. We don't have money for reparations. We don't have money for anything. We've run out of money.
Yes. Just remember, it's the thought that counts.
Right. And that was the perfect analogy of where liberalism is today in 2024. We're going to promise you everything, but hey, we don't have the money.
We can't deliver. We can't deliver. And, and what J.D. Vance said to Jonathan Karl is important, too, because the former president on stage was also talking about that, look, why doesn't she leave here and go straight back to D.C. and try and fix some of these things? Well, she's not going to do that. It's not going to happen. She's part of it. There is no difference. She's worse than Biden. He made that point. Trump made that point. She's worse than Biden. These are the things that matter. What also matters because, again, convincibility. How convincible, did I make that word up, is Trump? Do people have blinders on for him? Even people that vote for him go, okay, I don't need him to tell me that. I can figure that out for myself. So let's throw in that possibility if that's the case for a number of people. If that's the case for a number of people, they also look at it and say, yeah, but she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. He did a great job on a number of fronts. She didn't do anything for herself.
Right.
The only thing she did is she surprised the liberal media by outperforming Kamala Harris, by being able to actually stand up there and put a couple sentences together after rehearsing for God knows how long. I mean, probably since the moment she got off the stage at the convention. But I don't know. She clearly was way over rehearsed, I thought. But those things don't matter either to the independent out there. The independents looking at it, and they are screaming at their TV, what are you going to do?
I mean, there was nothing new from Trump because there's nothing new that Trump has to put out there.
Yeah, who was it? Was it somebody at National Review? There is no new version of Trump.
Right. The Donald Trump you see is the Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That there is. There is no new version of Donald Trump.
Right.
He's who we always thought that he was.
Yeah.
But the look, there is such sensitivity from Trump supporters, knowing that Trump will go down rabbit holes. But you have to understand the public is used to that, and independents want to know what Harris is going to do.
Yeah.
The whole thing about, whether it's the cats or the, or even January 6th. You didn't hear independents bringing that up. They're not talking about January 6th. They don't care. The media cares about it.
Right.
The media cares. You could see Jonathan Karl. He kept trying to interrupt Vance, but because it was like, Trump says she can't put two sentences together. She put two sentences together as if that's a huge victory. Yeah. Because you asked the question, where did Kamala Harris beat Trump on any major issue of concern to the American public?
Right.
Which one?
Right.
And did she convince you that her 180-degree flip-flops, did she explain to you on her flip-flops why she flip-flopped?
Right.
On any of them.
Which, by the way, she hasn't even been talking about. They threw it out through the campaign.
Yeah.
Right. She hasn't been out there actively promoting that she's pro-fracking. She wants to secure the border. No. Did they bring up no taxes for tips? I don't know if they brought that up.
Funny thing is, I was after vacation, having trouble sleeping. So I had it on as I was in bed. I fell asleep a couple of times
during the debate
was on. Because I normally don't get up till 10 o'clock.
Right.
And so I just figured, I was like 7:30, I go, turn the TV on, just turn it on where, the debate's going to be on. And then I woke up at the beginning of it and went, oh, okay, he's doing it's doing a pretty good job on abortion. And then I fell back asleep again not for like 20 minutes, for like 3 minutes, and then wake up again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but again, what are the lasting impressions? There's nothing that shows me that it changes anything about Trump, but there's also nothing that shows me it changes anything about her, because what people they know him, they know what he can do as president. They want to know what she's going to do, and they didn't get that answer.
Your calls and comments coming up, 866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls, 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Let's find out what you thought about the debate. We go to Shane in Georgia. Shane, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Hi.
Hi, how you doing, Mr. McNamara, Mr. Harley? Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I would like to comment, where Trump said to her, he's made the comment that she hated Benjamin Netanyahu, where she came back in response and says, no, I've always supported Israel. And then, later when she was asked about the war in Israel, where she came out and laid out the tragedies of Hamas, and then as well went on to say about how Israel has the right to defend itself. She may have caught herself on some votes on that one. She may have lost her some on that one.
No, she might have lost, especially in Michigan, Muslim support.
Oh, I think, in fact, not just Muslim support, but any of the radical protesters that look at that and say, well, that's the way she's going to be, and she's no different than Biden, because they also had the problem with Biden. And it's exactly where I was, Shane, when I heard her saying it. That's the first thing that came to my mind. She's losing some of her own base on the far left. There's no doubt.
Because she has her opinion is not different than Biden's at all.
Exactly.
It's the fact of, let's say we support Israel. Let's not give them everything they need to win.
Right.
Let's go after them. And because everyone knows, any military expert who's been following Israel knows that the number of casualties of innocent civilians in a war like that is almost a record low. Mm-hmm. They all know that Israel's not targeting civilians. We all know that.
Right.
And so she simply has, as we have said, that's what they call the the compassionate anti-Semitic
exactly.
narrative that's out there.
Right.
We're anti-Semitic, but it's compassion. They need to defend themselves, but not to win. And we need a two-state solution, which is the same BS. Hamas doesn't want a two-state solution.
Exactly.
Nobody wants a two-state solution. And that's where we talk about Democrats always coming up with the answer. The answer is what nobody wants.
Right.
And remember.
They even say they're not for it.
And remember, Karine Jean-Pierre said the other day that we're getting the impression that Hamas doesn't want a deal no matter what.
Right.
Duh, you're an idiot.
Yeah, we're starting to think they don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
It really, I think she said that, 2 days ago,
Yeah,
right?
a couple days ago.
Well,
Right.
we're under the impression that
I'm starting to believe these people may be terrorists.
Yeah, and they actually don't want to live in a two-state solution under any type of democratic republic.
Yes, you need to be more pragmatic about this.
Yes. By the way, pragmatic now means
lying. Yes,
since Bernie Sanders said that about
saying she's being more pragmatic.
That she's being more. Yeah, she really doesn't believe the stuff. And that's pragmatism. Is lying.
Yeah. Thank you, Shane. We appreciate the call. Thank you, sir. But those, that's where we are. It is the denial of reality. When people right now are steeped in reality far more than ever, and in a political season, when you try and deny reality, you just stand out, no doubt.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Wait a minute here. Will you stop talking to me?
What?
During the break?
Why? Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Soon, I will stop talking.
I just saw that.
I pledge to all Americans.
Let me see if I can find that again. Darn it, I lost it. Let me just get it real quick here.
Right.
I just want to see what. I'm just going through. I saved bookmark stuff on Twitter, just some different audio cuts. I just want to find the Frank Luntz one. Here we go, because I saw one he posted last night. Harris is winning on content. What content?
What content? No.
Okay.
Where?
Let me see. I'm just going through it. Okay, I don't know. I just don't know where it is here at the moment. But he had one in there that said that, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, but there is nothing. There's not a point you can make on the issues where she was winning.
What issue did she win on?
Right. Yeah.
And it's and that's the thing that again I'm going through, because he tweeted so many different things out. All right, I can't find it. Maybe I saw a response. I was scanning through to find something, and I just saw Frank Luntz. She wins on content. I go, please tell me which major issue that Americans care about did she win on? One.
Yeah. Where is that?
I don't know what that is. If there is one, please somebody tell me. And that's why I thought maybe he was doing it. I'll search later on. I don't want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to do it on the air. I found that just absolutely fascinating. And what was the other one? Did I save the one on? I don't have it. I thought I had the one on. No, I don't have it. I wanted to play the one. I had it a couple moments ago on Israel, where she talked about the two-state solution, just to play it for the gentleman who called. Or did we play it already? Did we play it? I played so many audio cuts.
Well, I know we previewed it. We didn't play it on the air yet.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll find it, though, coming up here in a little bit. All right. Let's head to, let me see, Ron in Alabama. Ron, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, look, my bet on this is Trump won. Number one, he didn't hurt himself. Number two, he didn't have to define Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris defined herself by not defining herself on the issues.
That's an interesting take on it. I mean, yeah, she defined herself by lying about where she is on the issues because she's clearly and was lying throughout the night. Everybody knows that, by the way. That's not just the right that's observing that. Everyone knows she's lying about being pro-fracking, being pro-Second Amendment, being pro-Israel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not even
we know
close.
that she knows she's lying.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Where'd you get that?
I think President.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I believe President Trump will take this election. May not be like big numbers, but I think it'll be enough to set aside any doubt or any cheating, if you will, or legal ramblings by the other side.
Yeah, right.
I mean, people are fed up with her. She is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is her. They're fed up with being hungry, being behind on their bills. I mean, everyone's fed up with that. And she is exactly what Biden is.
Yeah.
They're one and the same.
Yeah.
All right, here is because this is what we talked about. And again,
Thanks, Ron.
people get the partisanship is so great on it that it's tough to actually get an angle because a debate like last night is not about converting me, you could be Eric or our great listeners or Alan. I don't want to forget about Alan. That's not what a debate is about. It's about, like it always is at this time, going after the independent. And so, as we have said, I saw the Frank Luntz just line that said she wins on content. I go,
yeah,
what?
I just found it, yeah.
What does he say?
On content, this is from 6 hours ago. On content, Harris is winning. Visually, she's hurting herself. And he has the short gif of her basically, kind of doing the what? Look at Trump and kind of dismissively laughing or smiling. And I don't know where in the world Frank Luntz believes on content she's winning.
Right, because here's another example. This is a CNN poll that was done afterwards. I just found this one. All right, CNN poll shows that Harris lost support of voters on who they trust to handle the economy, and Trump trust. Trump has gained. This was a CNN instant poll of the first Trump-Harris debate. Now, by the way, this isn't a like a internet poll. You know, they make the quick calls. They do whatever they need to do. Who would better handle the economy before the debate? These are debate watchers. 53% for Trump, 37% for Harris. Afterwards, 55% for Trump, 35% for Harris. And the last caller made a point. Trump didn't have to define her. I still believe it helps to pile on because repetition helps over and over again. And he did it. It's just, I think Trump supporters get upset when he goes down rabbit holes instead of going back on the attack that's effective. You get to this point, and your supporters want you to be effective every time you open your mouth.
Yeah.
You know what people want from Trump at a debate? What they believe they'll get from Vance.
Yeah.
And if they don't get it, they're a little bit disappointed. But Trump is exactly who he is, and he didn't hurt himself. And on the economy there, on the CNN's instant poll, Trump actually gained on the economy.
Another point that Frank Luntz made just right before that whole on content, she's winning. But the same point on expressions that he posted a still shot of the side-by-side of Trump and Harris. And he writes, again, this is Frank Luntz, Kamala Harris made those facial expressions during every Senate hearing. Not sure why none of her debate prep coaches told her to stop that.
I'll tell you why.
It's
I
all
think
she has.
I think they told her to do it.
That's actually, she's directed to do that. And as you mentioned earlier, the hand on the chin while she's going, tell me more, Donald, like she's doing the meme of Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, that everybody's used far too often.
Now, this is interesting, because in the same CNN poll, all right?
Yeah.
Who won the debate? Harris, 63%, Trump, 37% in the CNN instant poll.
Mm-hmm.
Who can handle the economy better? Trump gains after the debate.
Yeah. But see, there's the difference. People are looking at the debate. This is why you and I know for me, I can speak for me on this. This is why I think more and more debates don't have the impact. Because if you're looking at it and it's just about aesthetics and performance on a stage, sorry, it's like, okay, then we did a karaoke contest. That's all we did. It doesn't matter. So when it gets back to it and you start asking people about the issues, definitely Trump. And those are, points we've made before, certainly. But I'm really more and more convinced that debates don't have that impact. They don't have that lasting impact. The exception to that rule is the last debate that led to Biden no longer being the nominee. And that was a very different reason. That was horrible debate performance based on clear cognitive issues, whatever those are. So tonight, what you had in this debate was the media basically jumping up and down for joy because they were worried that she wouldn't be able to pull it off. And she did. She really outperformed Kamala Harris. She didn't outperform Trump in their mind. That's what they're saying. That's the impression. On content, sorry, Frank Luntz. Don't just post something like that. Get into the weeds on it.
Well,
tell me what you mean by that, because that doesn't jive at all.
Well, that's why I asked the question. If she won the debate, what issue did she win on?
Right. Where did she? Because it's not about. It really isn't about performance. It's not karaoke. It's got to be about the issues. If it's not, you're watching it for the wrong reason. You can watch it for any reason you want to. But the independent, the hearts and minds that have to be convinced and or changed, they're looking for answers right now. And these are not answers in the abstract. Hey, what if we did this? Hey, what if we did this? It's who's going to fix this? Over and over again, every day in their mind. They get to the grocery store, they go back to school shopping and wonder, how in the hell are we going to make it?
I'm just reading Bernard Goldberg. No matter what you think of Harris's policies that he disagrees with, remember he wrote the author wrote the book Bias, and the worked for Dan Rather at CBS, and finally realized the bias in the media. Said Trump doesn't look normal, she looks normal, and that's how I believe undecided voters will look at it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, again, that's because you're not. There is such a sensitivity, even from people that support Trump, to not be Trump when he shouldn't be Trump, because he can argue effectively against somebody who is flip-flopping totally. But as I look at it, I go, okay, but Trump is who he is. You're not going to change him. And when it gets down to it, what issue did he lose on the debate to her?
Right.
And what it comes down to is, well, Trump lost because he said she couldn't put two sentences together, and she can put two sentences together.
Yeah.
And so the CNN poll shows you she won 63-37. We're going to ignore the poll that shows on the economy after the debate. The same CNN poll shows more people are confident in Trump's ability with the economy than pre-debate.
Right.
So just where did she win, and what is the context of winning besides everybody's sensitivity to Trump, including his supporters?
Right.
That had this sensitivity that you could have done better.
Right.
And since you didn't do better, she won. Okay, she won. I'll admit that she won.
Right.
And you and I looked at it and said, yeah, but we're issue people. The independents we've heard from tonight, all the independents that we played, have said, okay, she did better than we thought, but I didn't get any answers. I don't know where she stands still. I have no idea where she stands.
Yeah.
I know what Trump will do. He's already done it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it. And Biden said he was going to be a moderate. He wasn't a moderate from day one. I can't take the chance on Harris.
This is what it comes down to. For people that are this late in the game still deciding who they're going to vote for, you're voting, you ultimately, if there is a Hail Mary, you're going to put that Hail Mary in the hands of the best quarterback with the best receiver on the field. That's it. Trump's a known quantity in terms of what he has done. You want performance? Performance as president. People will look back, and you don't have to go back far. You just have to go back to his years as president, and they understand he's capable of doing it.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So that's the question you have to ask, and there is no answer to it, because the answer would be, all right, if you believe that Harris won the debate, what issue did she win on?
Right.
Or did she simply win because she was able to put two sentences together?
Right. You're shocked that she could do that.
Right.
Which means she outperformed herself, not Trump.
But what issue? And that's why I think the CNN poll is so telling. You know, 63-37% they believe that Harris won, but they also believe that Trump improved himself on doing a better job on the economy by over 20 points over Harris.
Right.
What?
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here. Okay, a couple more audio cuts from the debate last night.
All right.
This is the audio cut. We previewed it. I don't think we played it, though. And it was on Israel because we had a caller call up and say, wow, on Israel, she didn't do herself any favors with the pro-Hamas portion of the Democrat Party. Here's what she had to say about what happened, her views on Israel and the war.
Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so, absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed.
Based on what?
Based on Hamas propaganda?
Yeah, based on what? All right, let's continue.
Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution.
There you go. That's not what. That's not what pro-Hamas Democrats, which is a significant portion of the Democratic Party, wishes to have. It's the exact same position as Biden's.
It's not what Hamas wants.
Yeah,
it's not what Israel wants. The would-be two states don't want the two-state solution.
Because they know it's impossible. There is no two-state solution.
No.
I mean, this is and again, as we said before, this is this is an example of where Democrats say, all right, the solution is what nobody wants.
Well, no, I mean, it's almost like going to some kind of contest, like a boxing match. What we need is both opponents now need to just stand in their respective corners. We need to stop fighting. They're fighting for a reason. There's a war that's been going on for the ages here. And after October 7th and the full-on display of anti-Semitism here stateside that's been going on, there is no gray area. Radicals on one side, everybody else on the other
side. Yeah, and as stated earlier, I've got a new term for this, because it's the exact same position as Biden. It is what you call compassionate anti-Semitism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We understand what happens, but we still want Israel destroyed. Yeah. We don't want Israel really to defend itself. We're lying to you on that one.
No.
We just have to because we understand that's where public opinion is.
Right.
Now, the other one is Trump on Kamala Harris's economic plan.
Here we go. I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. And
sorry. Just repeat. It went into a loop. Excuse me.
I'm thinking, is he trying to fill 2 minutes? But that's, that's, I think, a given. But it's he should have pointed it out, as he did. There is no plan. There is no plan except to keep doing what the Biden administration is doing and take it even further.
Well, spend more and tax more.
Yep.
That's what the plan is. I mean, there's nothing new in the plan
new.
from Democrats in general.
Right.
But as I've said before, over and over, that was a solid point by Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's resonating with independents. So the question is, because look, to me, obviously Trump won. Why? I agree with him more on the issues because I agree with Harris on nothing. So, of course, but it doesn't matter what I think. People look at me and go, well, yeah, it's because you like Trump. Okay, well, let's take it out of there then. What did Harris do? Where did Harris win on an issue?
Right.
What issue of major importance that the American people care about, which is, in order, the economy, the border, which would also be national security. Inflation's part of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vast majority of Americans and the vast majority of independents. That's what they're concerned about. Where did she win?
In fact, I would say when you look at the polls, and they'll be playing out, throughout the day of who won, who didn't win, blah 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 blah. The majority of those respondents, it doesn't matter what they think, because the majority of those respondents have already made up their mind. Unless they're only polling undecided in terms of who won and who didn't, then it doesn't, the majority of them, because the majority of people have already made up their mind. It comes down to those who are undecided and or independent voters. Where are those numbers? What moved that needle? It's the only needle right now that still has any play.
Well, again, I go back to the instant poll that CNN did that showed that the debate watchers that they polled afterwards said that she won by a 63 to 37% margin, that she won the debate. On the economy, pre-debate, who could do a better job? Trump, I think it was 55 to 37. Afterwards, after the debate, who could do a better job in the economy? 57-33 Trump.
Yeah.
He gains 2 points. She loses 2 points on the economy.
Right.
Well, then what did she win on?
Right.
And it gets back to the fact, well, we've never seen her. She actually talked and she could put two sentences together. She did better than we thought. It's still the same old Trump. I agree with Trump, because you got a ton of people. You've got like 20-25% of the population that's saying, if that poll is accurate, that's saying she won the debate.
Yeah.
Yet we believe he'll do a much better job in the economy. Well, then what issue did she win on?
Right. Where's the win?
I can't find that from anybody out there. She obviously won the debate. How? What issue did she win on?
Again, it might as well have been a karaoke contest, because it's what moves the needle on the issues. And she won nothing on the issues. Show me. Somebody show me. Show me where she won on the issues.
That's what and you can tell the media doesn't want. We play the media what they're. Well, let's talk about cats. It's a true, and I'm like, every time you bring up, and J.D. Vance said, you keep bringing up the cats, and that makes people think about. Wait a minute, what's this story about? Oh, it's about 20,000 Haitians in a very small town. Why the hell is that happening?
Right.
What's going on here?
Right.
What's happening all over the country with the the other, we saw Jonathan Karl to Vance.
Mm-hmm.
Trump said she can't put two sentences together. What do you say after this? Because she could put two sentences together. It's like that's what they're focused on. Nobody in the mainstream media is focused on, okay, where did she win on the issues?
Well,
and what did she actually, if these people say she won, why did she win? What is the reason that she won? And the independents that we have found out there that are, that CNN had, CBS had, Dr. Phil had, a room full of independents, you look at where they stand on the issues, and the vast majority are saying, oh, no, Trump is winning on the border and the economy.
Right.
Well, what other major issue is there? Because those are the two big major issues. And the economy, by the way, is inflation.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
You can't find it. Nobody can tell what this magical, spiritual, whatever it is, thought process of the American public is coming from, because it's not based on any issues.
Right.
So what's it based on?
Right.
We didn't think she could put two sentences together.
That's basically
Apparently
what it
she
is.
can.
That's basically what it is. It's kind of where I started, and that is everyone is, you look at those polls, and it's the response, including the liberal media response. Oh, my gosh, she did it. She did it.
I know.
Well, what you're saying is she outperformed Kamala Harris. She outperformed your expectations. That's what you're saying.
Because you had none.
Because you had zero. The bar wasn't even a bar. It was the ground.
Let's go to Dean in Wisconsin. Dean, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Welcome to the show. Hi.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. What's up?
I think what Trump did, I watched the entire debate. I think what Trump did is a rope-a-dope. I think he gave Harris just enough leeway that they're now calling for a second debate. Trump knew going into this debate he was going to have both hands tied behind his back. It was going to be one-sided. There was nothing he could do about it. But if they're calling for a second debate, they're going to have to follow what he wants, which is a neutral venue with different rules.
He should have done that to begin with. The campaign should have done that when we were screaming about it a month ago. He should have said one goes on Fox. Now, he could still do it now. He could still say, look, I want this on Fox, and I want Brett Baer because you got what you got last time. Otherwise, we're not doing the debate. But if you're saying that Trump purposely gave her enough rope and that was calculated by Trump in order to get a second debate that he'll win, I believe you are way overanalyzing what happened last night.
I would say that if that were accurate, Dean, that wouldn't be a good tactic.
Yes.
Because you would be far overconfident, and you shouldn't put everything in the idea that she would want to come back for a second debate and that you could take her in that debate.
But you got to remember, this is a guy that wrote The Art of the Deal. He knows how to negotiate.
Stop it. Stop it.
We went through all this in 2016.
We did this in 2016.
Again, it's not that it isn't that complicated. And Donald Trump isn't that complicated. Negotiations, you don't do that and overshoot for this, hoping they'll come back around. You might do that in a moment on the stage, not for a long-term tactic and hoping that there would be a second debate, because that would be a horrible tactic. And if you're saying that, then you're undermining the integrity of Donald Trump himself, because I don't think he would do that.
No. Come on, we did this in 2016. Let's not do it now.
Yeah.
This was a calculation by Trump. He went in and purposely tanked in order to get a second debate.
Well,
Stop
again,
it.
You're not giving Donald Trump credibility here.
Right.
So you steal his credibility for this entire debate in order to place it in the hopes of a second debate, which no one knows yet if it's going to even happen. That undermines the credibility of even the hope that you put in for Donald Trump winning, it sounds like.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on speed and space management. In order to manage speed, you need to understand the 4 factors involved in stopping a vehicle. Perception distance is the distance a vehicle travels from the time you see a hazard until your brain recognizes it. The perception time for an alert driver is approximately 3/4 of a second. Reaction distance is the distance a vehicle travels from the time your brain tells your foot to move from the accelerator until your foot hits the brake pedal. The average driver has a reaction time of 3/4 of a second. Brake lag distance also needs to be taken into account. When operating a vehicle with air brakes, it takes about half a second for the mechanical operation to take place. Finally, braking distance is the distance it takes a vehicle to stop once the brakes are applied. Braking distance is affected by the weight, length, and speed of the vehicle, as well as road condition. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Here's a couple of more very effective points from Trump last night. And as we've said before, if Harris won the debate, what issue did she win it on? Or what set of issues? Nobody can tell us.
Right.
Mainstream media can't. I haven't seen one mainstream media outlet saying she won the debate on these issues. Right. Nobody's saying it. Nope. But here's a couple of strong points. Here's Trump on Afghanistan. This has to hit home with the American public.
See, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you.
That nobody gets fired. They just all get to keep their job.
But that's a solid point.
No,
it's a solid point about this administration. Nobody ever gets fired when everything is screwed up.
About Trump. But I remember the morning it was announced. In fact, the moment I was filling in on our flagship station, WBAP, and I was sitting across from the great Hal J., and it hit 2 seconds before we cracked our mics that Rex Tillerson was coming back to the U.S., and sources say he was going to be fired. And then I remember, that was a big deal. I remember that moment. But you and I went through all of it every time he fired someone. Now, making enemies of them and going on, social media, we've had that conversation. But he makes the comparison of that. Look, if you're not doing the job I want you to do, I'm going to fire you. Nobody gets fired from this administration.
Afghanistan was absolute hell. Should have never happened. Biden lied to the American public. The soldiers couldn't do what they wanted on the ground. Right. Somebody should be fired. Nobody was fired. Look at the economy. It's, the economy's been horrible. Inflation. They lied to you about inflation. Nobody got fired.
Right.
They're able to continue, harming the country, and nobody gets fired.
Kirby.
Kirby. Very effective.
Right. Exactly. I think it was a very
effective moment.
Yeah.
If the two idiots overnight can understand it, so can you.
Right.
Red Eye Radio.
It's true.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Hey, download our Red Eye Radio app, and you can listen when and where you choose.
Greatest app ever. Everybody knows.
Greatest app
Nobody's ever seen one like it. Yeah, it's great.
They don't make apps like this in China.
Yeah. China's stealing the Red Eye app. We all know
it. And Harris, you notice it has red in the beginning of it.
Yeah, see?
They're owned by the Russians.
Yeah. Or the Republicans. Either one is bad for them. In fact, I would say Republicans probably more evil. Yeah,
we've been
Democrats.
We've been talking about the debate last night and asking the very blunt question. Since you've got a lot of polls out there, we're specifically talking about the CNN poll. There's other polls, for example. We brought up Trafalgar, and just so you know, Trafalgar that showed that the people that he interviewed after. Thought Harris won the debate 55-43.
Yeah.
All right. But before the debate, it was 47 voting for Trump, 47 voting for Harris. After the debate, it was 48 voting for Trump, 48 voting for Harris. Yeah. So it didn't move the needle. When you look at, though, and I even think the one that's interesting because it shows the huge contrast, which makes us ask the question, well, if she won, how did she win? What did she win? What issue did she win on? We can't figure it out. Nobody is talking about what issue she won on. Mm-hmm. But the CNN poll showed she won 63-37. But on the economy, who will do a better job on the economy? Trump picked up 2 points after the debate in the CNN poll, where he would lead 57-33.
Right.
Instead of 55-35, I think it was.
Right.
So he increased his lead. People saw the debate and said, okay, I trust Trump more in the economy by 2 points. And she wins the debate. So what's she winning the debate on?
Well, that's it. Well, but you know what it is? It's participation trophy.
It's a participation survey.
You know,
there's
a crash car derby thing that happens, and a friend of mine is part of it. But before they get started, they give out $1,000 for the coolest looking derby car because you paint it and the whole thing. Well, no one's there to see that's fine, and it's fun for a few minutes, but everybody's there to see those cars just crash each other. She got basically a participation trophy award. That's what that is, because if you look at this in terms of where the needle actually moved, of what matters, what people believe, then he wins, and he wins a greater audience as a result of the debate, a greater number of people as a result of the debate.
I want to play 2 more audio cuts where he was extremely strong. The one was on Israel, where she gave, she told what, she would do with Israel, that we support Israel, but there's too many, innocent deaths, and we need to have a ceasefire now and a 2-state solution, which is exactly the Biden administration's compassionate anti-Semitism, Jew hatred narrative.
Yeah.
It's compassionate racism. It's the continuation of compassionate racism, as we call it, from the Democrats. And so she had that. Was Trump's response to Harris.
But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel. Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
I'm
there are so many things in the one in that 1 2 minute bit. That 1 2 minute
1 minute and 35 seconds.
1 minute and 35 seconds, yeah. He crushed it on a number of things. We all remember when Netanyahu was here and that empty chair right there on the floor, her chair. She was gone. And we know, and he's pointing out where she truly would be, where we would all be if she were president, where Israel, in fact, wouldn't be, because the biggest thing, the closer in that segment you just heard, was the funding for Iran.
Yeah.
That is the greatest point of, because he puts everything in line, he puts it all on one package and sets that package moving forward on its way to that big crescendo, the most important point, and that is Iran is funding all of this, and Biden and Harris could have stopped it. Not only did they not stop it and keep those sanctions in place that Trump had, they reversed those sanctions and made sure that Iran now has $300 billion in order to keep funding Hezbollah, Hamas, and all the other terrorist organizations.
But he was, Eric, what you fail to realize, though, is he was angry, and he shouldn't be angry.
Yeah, right. He needs to say it with joy.
I mean, that's the you should be angry about
you
that.
should be angry about Afghanistan. You should be angry about Iran. You should be angry about a broken border. You should be angry that you can't make a decision between rent and groceries and back-to-school items for your children. Hell yeah, you should be pissed.
I'm not going to argue with him at the moment. I don't disagree, by the way. But if I was, I would not at that moment. No, but it's all true, because I saw that, when at the end of it was like, well, Trump was angry. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He should be angry.
Yeah. That sounds like somebody who's willing to fight.
Right. And so I look at this. I look at last night, and like I said, normally I don't get to watch any of the debates. I wake up at 10 o'clock, but I couldn't sleep. Still having problems sleeping because of being on vacation last week, and that happens once in a while. So I turned the debate on. So I was awake, and then I fell asleep during the debate. I'd fall asleep for 3 minutes. Then I'd be awake for 15. Then I'd fall asleep for another 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah. My impression was so different, because when I got up and I was reading, Twitter, X, and so many even conservative influencers, pundits, whatever, they just go, look, I don't like it when Trump goes into the rabbit holes of a doesn't matter whether he's right. If it goes into a rabbit hole where you can't get anywhere with it, and you can't win the argument in 15 seconds, don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't get into the little stuff about the situation is not about cats being eaten. The situation is illegal immigration and the tens, hundreds of thousands of Haitians allowed in and put into a particular area without the proper resources or law enforcement to do a ton of different stuff. And the locals are just, sorry, you're hung out to dry. That's what you focus on.
Right.
But the fact is, nobody cared about it. But there's just a sensitivity that even we all have to Trump, where we go, no, don't do that. Don't go down that. But what you have to realize is the independent, or the people right now that are suffering from inflation, don't care about that.
Well,
it wasn't brought up with that.
You know where we are. All of us are in the corner of the ring as Burgess Meredith. Come on, Rock. Come on. And then the crowd is going nuts for Rocky. This is what we do. This is
right.
This is where we are.
Right.
But as a nation, those things are so serious. Everything that's on this table, the reality that people are dealing with every single day, the rabbit hole stuff doesn't matter. Engaging too much doesn't matter, because they only want the answer to one question: who's going to fix this?
Yeah. And so that's where I think a lot of conservative pundits last night missed it, because we asked the question. The first thing we asked was, well, okay, the media saying she won. What issue?
Right. Where?
Name me one issue she won on.
Yeah. Participation trophy?
Yeah.
Beauty contest? What is it? What are we looking at?
The being able to complete 2 sentences in a row award. I mean, is that where we are? Is that that's what wins you? Because on the substance of what was brought up, and that's why when Frank Lund said she's winning on content, you and I go, what the hell's he talking about? What content?
What are you talking about?
what content is she winning on?
Right.
And that's why we've asked if anybody can, because, well, look, I know I'm a partisan, but I can look at something objectively and say, well, wait a minute, and that's looking at it objectively, where did she win on an issue?
Right.
Do you believe now that she's stronger on the border?
Right.
We mentioned Dr. Phil with all the independents, like 100 of them in the room, 75, 100, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How many believe she won on the border? Oh, 4. It's like he was even surprised, like 4. Wow, there's not even partisanship. On the CNN poll, he increased his lead on handling the economy. So what exactly did she win? Is it the fact that people have such low expectations? Here's a question. Is it because people have so low expectations of Democrats and such high expectations of Donald Trump that even the fact that you can complete a couple of sentences without real cross-examination gives you the win?
No, I actually think that's a very good assessment of it overall. We have higher expectations because we're in that corner ring. We want him to win. We know we need him to win.
Could you be just Burgess Meredith one more time?
Come on, Rock. Come on, Don. Get your fist up. Come on. Bob, wave. Come on, dance. Get off the ropes.
Right.
Those are the problems.
That's us, and the crowd is cheering Rocky.
But the crowd is cheering Rocky. And
right.
And then finally, Rocky's throwing these jabs. He gets his shots in, and he finally wins. But it's for us. That's it. We have these expectations that are higher, and for her, the expectations were at 0 or below, and she outperformed not Donald Trump, but she outperformed everyone's expectations of her.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara.
By the way, I would say it's even more so than the Burgess Meredith, because Burgess Meredith had to shape Rocky into that. We've already seen Donald Trump eat lightning and crap thunder. We know he can do it.
That was really bad because I did a little bit of theater of the mind, and I didn't like going there. I go back to my original question.
Mm-hmm.
What issue did she win the debate on?
Right. Where?
What issue?
What?
And I think that even conservatives get, for example, what you saw for the first part of it, well, not the first part of it, because I think the first part, even though it was focused on abortion, Trump did great, and she was very hesitant. She came off as being nervous. And then, to me, after the whole, the let's insult each other about the rallies, which was, nobody cares about that.
Right.
Nobody cares about that at all.
Right.
And then the leftist political activists that were running the show of the debate decided to get involved. And then it became, I really think it became, because there were things, Trump should be addressing them more. We've said that. We said he should address it and say, well, look, we know you're on her side because you don't fact check her on anything.
Right.
And you fact check me on every single thing, even the minutia of stuff that doesn't even matter.
Right.
But the fact is, I think they get so caught up in it that many conservatives miss the substance of what Trump said that independents picked up on.
And that's the difference.
The independents that we played on the show,
Right.
that were on CBS and CNN
they were
and
seeing
Dr.
it.
Phil,
They were
saw
seeing it.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.